Hello folks, hope you're doing well. I certainly am, things are going okay. Over in Casa North, where we are. Where is my other... There he is. There we go. Oh. There we go. Happy days. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? So, I'm working on some notes for the Horus, Sons of Horus video that we're going to be doing. Well, the Sons of Horus rebuild that we're going to be doing. Because I want to get more involved in that one. I want to have more of my own say. Obviously, we're going to be voting on things as well. But I figured we're at number 15 now in terms of legions, right? Number 15 out of 20. Maybe every 5 legions we have a little break. And this week's break will be deciding something else that has its genesis in the Horus Heresy, and that is the Grey Knights. So that's going to be awesome. Andy says, how's your old world project going? Pretty good, pretty good. I've got a full squad of orcs almost ready to go. And I've got the Wrecker Mob. The Age of Sigmar Wrecker Mob ready to go as well. So I'm going to be building them. At the moment, I'm working on the armies that are going to be taking part in the tournament that is going to be happening in June. Which is pretty cool. So working on those armies, we've got the Exiled Blades and the Void Talons. Both of those are going to be a part of that. So I won't be playing those armies, by the way. That'll be you guys will be playing those armies, or whoever is furthest away. Right. So there are a few of you who are coming to this event from outside of the UK. If you can't bring your army for luggage reasons, then you will be able to use one of our in-house armies, the Void Talons, or the Exiled Blades, depending on what your poison is for Space Marines. Both very combat-intense armies, you know. But yeah, you'll get your choice of which one to play as. There may be more. I have a third one. I've got a Grey Knight army ready to go as well. Well, I will do by the time. I'm using the tournament as like a framing device to get all my armies ready. To basically finish my armies, to finish a project. I've got 2,000 points of Exiled Blades. I can see the end of the project with the Exiled Blades. Do you know what I mean? I've got a ways to go. I've got 2 or 3, maybe 4 things to paint, but I can see the end of it, right? Void Talons, I've still got to buy the models and build them and then paint them. You know, so Grey Knights are ready to go here. Like, I've just got to paint them and then we're ready to go. But yeah. I hope you and the stream make Abaddon much better during the Heresy. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm doing alright, doing some screenwriting while I'm listening. Good for you, Mr. Awesome. Good for you. Hello, Flaming Neko. How's it going? Perturabo. How's it going, man? Neo. How's it going? Greetings, banished storyteller of the Frozen North. Hello, Into the Void. How are you doing? Right. Yeah, I'm not going to dive in straight away to the rebuild. We always have a little chill out first, don't we? But yeah, so there will be 2, maybe 3 armies that you can play as in the tournament. I'll leave that up there for a minute. If you want to know what to do, basically, you let me know you're coming. You simply email your army of choice and your name and contact number to northernexileevents@gmail.com. That is northernexileevents@gmail.com. It's going to be a great day. We're going to be in just play games all day that day on the 21st of June. I'm paying for it in April. So April, I'm booking the room. And we're already down. They've already penciled it in on June the 21st. We've got the room to ourselves. It is a big space. A very big space. There are several rooms upstairs. I say several, there's 3. One has a really nice conference area with loads of really fun hobby stuff in it, where you can play board games and eat your food and have a break from the tournament in there. There'll be the main tournament main tournament hall, and then there'll be the actual main table, which is like the main event table in there as well. It's a brilliant space. I love it. We've literally found the perfect place to have a tournament, of a mid-sized tournament. So, yes, we're going to have a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun. It is a one-page rules tournament. You are right. It is Warhammer 40k themed, though. It's Grimdark Future. So, bring your 40k army. But yeah. It's going to be fantastic. And I made the decision not to play in it. And, mainly because I want to be hosting. I don't want to be playing. You know what I mean? Playing would be one too many things that I've got to find out how to do. Do you know what I mean? I want to focus on make sure everybody else has a good time. And obviously, if you've come to Exile Fest, not to be egotistical, but you probably want to say hello to me, right? You probably want to say hi, right? If I'm playing a game of 40k, even if it's Grimdark Future, I'm concentrating on the game. Do you know what I mean? Right. So I'd rather be able to walk the room, say hello to everybody, look at games, look at people's armies, do all that fun stuff, than do anything else. Thank you for the £5, Ed. He says, had a fun game of 40k. Showed those Grey Knights who the real Hammer of the Emperor, that being Guard. Hope your family are all well. Show us Cat or we riot. He's downstairs sleeping at the moment. I'll get my missus to give me a picture of him. Stream is asking for cat pic. There we go. I'll get you some cat pics. Andy says, me following you since the days of the Dave story. Not a 40k fan, but love your content. I'm super happy for you getting the following you deserve for everything you do for the community. Keep at it. Cheers, man. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Into the Void says, hopefully if this one goes well, you come to the USA for a tourney. I will if there's space. Like if I find a really good space, I definitely will. In terms of the 40k, scene over there, it is absolutely massive over there. It's huge. So we should be able to find somewhere. There shouldn't be a problem. But it's the price, you know what I mean? It's getting myself over there, getting my army over there. But I don't see why not. You know what I mean? Don't see why not. It's also, like the US, it's not like the UK, right? In the UK, if somebody lives in like Birmingham or something, or London even, or even Edinburgh, they can be like, oh, I can take the day trip down to Liverpool, that's fine. I'll get a hotel. All round, it'll cost them about 100, 150 quid, right? To get down here, get themselves a hotel, for the night, nice cheapo one. Get a train, or even in the car, right? And then, if you're in the car, say you're driving from like London to Liverpool, right? And you've got a £70 hotel room. That means for the entire weekend, you'll be spending about £150, right? With fuel, food, all that fun stuff, for drinks, all that fun stuff, right? So that's fine. But in America, like, say if I do the event in Chicago, that's great for people in Illinois. Right, people in Illinois will be like, oh, great, okay, 2 or 3 hour drive, awesome, let's go. What if you're living in California? You're like, well, that is a 6-hour flight I'm booking myself in for, you know what I mean? So I'll have to be very careful about where I go if I do it in America. Jim Jitsu says, I would love to attend more wargaming tourneys, but that requires flights to most things I'd like to attend. Yeah. Yeah. I never liked the whole Horus Nurgle knife thing. Yeah, we'll get into that. We will get into that. Yeah. Neither did I. Neither did I. That'll be next week. No. So, with the Horus is such a big character that I wanted a week just to do my notes and make my, back and forth here and there. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to do my notes, get some ideas on the table for how Horus falls, why he falls, before I even start the stream, right? Didn't have time to do that this week, but I will do for next week. And it's going to be awesome. Not a fan of the whole Sister and Grey Knight thing. We're going to get into that, Ed. We'll get into that. Yeah, we're going to get into that. There are a lot of very fundamental questions about the Grey Knights that we have to answer before we do anything, right? Yeah. Into the Void says, you're an inspiration to me and my wife. We want to start making content with a focus on mental health and nerd stuff. That's cool, man. Into the Void is a good name for a channel as well. And you've already got your logo there. It's pretty cool. Like a hand coming out of the darkness. It's pretty cool. Horus will probably be the longest episode. I'm betting on it. It probably will. It probably will. That's why I want to prepare for it before I do anything else. Absolutely. I used to stream. Well, good for you, man. You should come back to it. Andy, thank you very much for your first contribution, man. $4.99. Thank you. He says, my first super chat and wanted you to have it all you do for good men's mental health. God knows you've helped me through the years. Cheers, man. I mean, I will say one thing about doing this on YouTube is definitely being able to help people who need it, big thing. And I think you really do need to stop and smell the roses sometimes. If any of you ever have imposter syndrome or feel like you're not succeeding around your friends, tune into tomorrow's Hobby Nightmares episode because it is a really good one for that. I get into a discussion at the end giving somebody some advice, and it's like a half an hour long discussion. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. So that Hobby Nightmares tomorrow is going to be good for that. You're not late, bored. We haven't started yet, mate. I think what I'm going to do with these videos for a good half an hour, I'm not gonna do anything, right? I'm just going to chill half an hour of the stream. So we've got another 5-10 minutes yet before I even start. So we're good. We're good. JJ says, I can't remember what happened with the Space Wolves Civil War rewrite. Was it retconned in the Exileverse? Do you mean the Months of Shame? We've not retconned anything in 40k to do with Space Wolves and Grey Knights just yet. No. That's going to be decided today. Ed says, would you ever do a summary of these lore streams? Yes. Yes. I'm not just going to do a summary. I will do a video. When we get to the end of the Legions, I'm going to have the Herculean task of going back over the videos to think about and put together what happened and what we came up with in terms of what's going on. In fact, I might recruit some of you guys. So what I might do is I might recruit somebody and say, hey, I will give you £50 worth of models if you go over the old streams and what you remember, and you make some bullet points of what happened in those streams, just so it would save me about 5-6 hours. I might do that. I feel we need a short recap more often. Yeah, same here, same here. From here we do, anyway. From here we do. I think we've done well, like Matthias. I think we've done well in that we've been able to, when we've come down the back straight of these Primarchs, we've not retconned anything else. Like, everything stayed pretty much the same, right? Even when Primarchs We're covering Primarchs that have already been covered in other people's stories. We've managed to keep it, which is good. You know? You should get Amber King to do a voiceover for the Exile verse. Dude, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. He's a busy man. He is a busy, busy man. And he spoke to him the other day, actually. Yeah, I need to... yeah. That would be cool, though. I think when we get to the Alpha Legion, the last Legion, we will definitely do a recap. There'll be a recap video, probably going to be coming up on a Sunday. Like I'll do an actual video where we sit down and we talk about what happened in it. You know. How to say you North, your mic acoustics have gotten slightly decreased since before you got your microphone more treble than it used to be. To be honest, it's less pleasant for my ears. Okay, do you know why? Because I normally use the... See, is that better? Yeah, because I put it down on my desk. That's why. Normally when I'm doing videos, I do it like this. So the mic is next to my face, rather than down and below. Down. So down here, right? Down here is worse. Because, you know, obviously, it's got to travel. Whereas up here, it's fine. So there we go. Yeah, up here is much better. So the old microphone set used to be just by my face, and it was good set. It was good. But I wanted this one basically because right now it's whenever I'm talking normally like this with it right by my face, it does sound better. You know what I mean? It still sounds treble. Huh. I don't know then. Whenever I've listened to myself, it's not been that bad at all. Plus, I've now got the Echo device attached to it. It's my favourite toy. There are others on here. There's other voiceover things I can do on here. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. There we go. What microphone is it? I can't remember, man. Let me have a little. Let me have a little look here. It is the it is the Zeal Sound USB microphone K66. That's it. It's not in blue though. Not expensive, but not cheap either. That one. It's not expensive and not cheap either. Middle of the road. Middle of the road. Can we have Kaldor Drago versus Demon Lorgar? Wouldn't that be swell? Thing is, with Demon Lorgar, Lorgar's the 16th, right? 17th? So after Sons of Horus, it's Wordbearers next, isn't it? So we are going to have to go into that. We're going to have to touch it. That's what she said. JJ says, I've been listening to the older streams since I've rewritten my custom chapter for the Exile verse. I could write them down the timestamps for the streams and put it in a comment. Yeah, do so, man. Do so. I'll tell you what, JJ, if you do that in a Google Doc and share it with me, You know, that'd be great. And then I can just bullet point what was in the streams, why was Lehman Russ on Fenris, things like that. You know, and we can go from there. If you do that, then I can get you some models. 17th says Wanton. Okay, yeah. So that's after. So the week after next, we'll be doing word bearers. That's awesome. All right. Sometimes I dream about cheese. Fair enough. And I remember something about Horus killing Lorgar on Ullanor, though I'm not sure if that's to do with the Exile verse or more of a that would be nice. Probably that would be nice, because I like Lorgar. Lorgar's one of my favourite characters. Alrighty, are you ready for cats? These are taking on my old phones. You have to bear with me, I'm afraid. Alrighty, time for some cat pics. Bet you never thought I'd be showing you pussy pics on a stream. So we have Logan on the left and Fang on the right. Both rather large boys. Well, no, Fang is. Fang's a rather large cat. Logan's more normal. So Fang is very streetwise, very big, very alpha. Like, he'll go around and do what he wants to do, and generally doesn't give a shit. Whereas Logan was the runt of his litter, so he's very not schizo, but very jumpy. Very frightened of everything all of the time. Very slow to trust. And he has his favourite person. My missus is his favourite person, and that's it, right? He'll let you stroke him for a bit, and then he'll move off. But with her, he'll lie on her, sit on her, do all that sort of stuff. Fang, it will do that with anybody. He's like, yeah, I'll give you some attention now. There we go. Here's Fang. Sunbathing. As you do. Oh, thank you, Dean. Dean, you have the best name in the world. Thank you for the £10. There's half a coffee or two on me, my friend, whilst I paint up my renegade guard. When we're going to see a drunken Saturday Night Mordian Glory crossover stream, I tune in for that. He gets pretty wild. Mordian's very, very, very funny. Mordian is very funny. So we had, like, a little while ago, I was supposed to go to Stockport to play him, but then we just, like, I didn't hear anything, so I just thought, well, that's not happening, so I was like, okay, well, I guess that's not happening, that's fine. I messaged him a few times saying, is this still going ahead? Didn't hear anything, so I thought, okay, fair enough. I guess it's not on for now. And then I got a text from him on the day saying, are you here? I was like, dude, like, I've been trying to get in contact with you all this time, asking whether we were still doing it or not. So yeah, we didn't get to do that. I hope he's not pissed off with me. But yeah, I'd love to do anything with Mordian. He's awesome. He's awesome. Drunken Saturday night. I wouldn't mind doing a drunken Saturday night stream before I go out. That'd be a pretty good way of doing it. Like when I go to meet friends, there'll be pretty good. I've got a better picture here. Hang on. She's bombarding me with pictures. Oh my god, I only asked for 2. So when we did a short while ago. Me and the missus did a Halloween night, Halloween party before we all went out. Had a few drinks, and we had 2 butlers. Hey. There you go. No, they weren't happy, but, you know. All the money they cost me in cat food, I'm getting all the joy I can, sorry. Cheers, Dean. Cheers, mate. Board says, was literally thinking when you and Mordian were going to do another chat. Do you know what? I'll get in contact with him. I'll hit him up. I'll have a word with him. I think last time. So, Mordian's content right is really good, and I think me and him are very similar in our senses of humour. Do you know what I mean? But I did get last time when we were talking that, you know, he was very much trying not to not offend me, but like not to like, oh, I don't want him to think that, you know, I'm some lunatic. Little did he know we're pretty similar. So yeah, I was hoping if we could do that again, I reckon we could like let our hair down and have some fun. Because he is a funny bloke. Yeah. Cool. Positive Geekery says, I'm pretty sure Mordian still goes to all the Just Play Games 40k events. I'll definitely have a word with him then. I'll drop him a message tonight and see if we can do a few podcasts or do a few joint talks for people. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. Especially with the event coming up in June. That'd be cool if he was there. What we're going to do for the event in June is generally, we hopefully we have even numbers. If we don't, then I will play the person who's left out, essentially. Do you know what I mean? Or I will get one of my friends or somebody who I know to play you with one of the armies that I bring. And I will stick around for that game. But yes, Logar on the left, Fang on the right. Alrighty. Let's do some Grey Knight rebuild, shall we? I think the time has come. The time has come. Alright. So first and foremost, we got to decide what the Grey Knights actually are. So, I think we're on the track of them being established in the Horus Heresy. You know? We're on the gravy train of them being established in the Horus Heresy. I mean, they've got to be, right? They're a contingency plan, right? I think we keep that. I think that's kind of sacrosanct. We keep that. We keep the fact that they are, you know, they're developed by the Emperor as a last-ditch resort to chaos, essentially, right? To demons and things. But, I have a question for you. Right, we'll do a poll. Were Grey Knights... Whoops. Always a part of the plan or post-heresy contingency? Part of the plan. Contingency. Right. So let me explain this question. Okay? So, if the Grey Knights were always part of the plan, that means the Emperor knew Chaos is out there, which he did, right? And it's essentially him saying, okay, my Primarchs can't know about Chaos because they might fall before I'm ready for them to fall. And I need a force in my back pocket to basically annihilate these things when they come up. Yeah? That would be always part of the plan. A contingency would mean that we're still relying on Malkador to send these guys to Titan and use weird warp magic to let them gestate over a couple of thousand years, right? Until like the not even a couple of thousand years, right? Till a little while off, right? To the second founding. You know? So we've got two choices. The part of the plan is that if the Emperor always knew Chaos is out there, which he does, right? And he wants to create a force that is going to be able to duke down traitor Primarchs and things whenever he needs them to, right? And he's making them during the Horus Heresy, or even before. Could be during the Great Crusade. During the Great Crusade, he's making the Grey Knights. Or do we keep it as is in the actual lore as we have it now, where the Grey Knights are decided upon their existence at the end of the Horus Heresy, when it becomes prevalent that the Emperor might not be around to combat Chaos, so he leaves behind Grey Knights to do so in his stead? Which one do we do? The plan was for the Primarchs to fall? I think it was in the end, yeah. Yeah, I think it was in the end. Yeah. Yeah. Didn't Emperor that make Grey Knights as a replacement for Magnus? No. No, he made the Grey Knights to be led by Magnus, Gem. Yeah. Yeah, so he made the Grey Knights to replace the Thousand Sons and to be led by Magnus, rather than replacing Magnus. Durdu, well, we got the Thousand Sons as involuntary renegades. Maybe some of them join the Imperium again to become the first Grey Knights. That is something that could be cool, right? Some of them may find more the Emperor's forgiveness. Yeah. Yeah, they were supposed to be for Magnus. Yeah, Mr. Awesome. Yeah, you're right. They were supposed to be for Magnus. In fact, that is why Rael Arvada, the first Supreme Grand Master, is a shard of Magnus. He's the backup plan, right? I quite like that story, anyway. I quite like that story. It's pretty cool. It becomes Janus. Positive Geekery says, I prefer contingency, as having it part of the plan means the Emperor expected his initial plans to fail. Fair enough. Alright, we'll end that poll there then. End that poll there. So they are a contingency just as they are in the natural order of things. Now, I have another question for you. Let's see. Alright. Emperors. This is going to be controversial. This is going to be very controversial. So, do the Grey Knights possess the Emperor's gene seed? Now remember, if we say no, we need to come up with alternatives. Now, in terms of the Emperor's gene seed, this doesn't mean that the Grey Knights are on a par with the Emperor. It just means that the gene seed that they have to hand is one that the Emperor gave himself. Right? That's all he had at hand. Was like, okay, I'll give you my genetic material because we don't have the Primarchs here right now. You know? How does the Emperor give his gene seed to them? Well, all gene seed is derived from the Primarchs, right? You know? So it stands to reason that the Emperor is also able to give his own gene seed to, you know, his warriors, because he gave them to his sons, right? So I would say that it is in law possible for the Emperor to give somebody his gene seed, right? To have him be, you know, a Primarch, quote unquote. Yeah, a lot of people don't like the idea of the Grey Knights having the gene seed because it makes them too special. Stand them apart, but I think that's the point. In myself, I honestly think that's the entire point of the Grey Knights. They are special, you know. That's what they're there for. Maybe we can use the Sensei from the old lore as the first aspirants for the Grey Knight. That'd be cool. Does the Emperor even have gene seed to give? No, but you can forge gene seed from the Emperor's genetic material. That's what the gene seed is. So the original gene seed is literally something made from the it's a progenoid gland made from the genetic material of the Primarchs that is then given to aspirants who are going to become Space Marines, right? So the Emperor, all he does is he makes a new progenoid gland using his own genetic material. Voila, you have a gene seed, right? So that's what that is. I like the Sensei. I like the Sensei thing. Yeah. So I like the natural sons of the Emperor are the first Grey Knights. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Would the Grey Knights be corruptible in the Exile-verse? Now, okay. Alright, Jim Jitsu. I have to say this, right? I'm going to say this. The Grey Knights are corruptible. Even in 40k, the Grey Knights are corruptible. Okay? Absolutely, they're corruptible. If the Custodies can be turned against the Emperor in the Siege of Terror books, even for a second, then the Grey Knights are not incorruptible. They can't be, right? That's not how the law works. So, what I would say is in 40k lore, the Grey Knights are extremely resistant to being corrupted, and there is nobody more staunch or incorruptible, unquote unquote, in the Imperium than them. Maybe the Custodies, but apart from them, nobody else, right? But that does not mean that Grey Knights can't fall to chaos. They can, right? They absolutely can. Which is why Garen Crow is the only one who can wield the sword of Antwyr, because that sword will corrupt any other Grey Knight who touches it. So Grey Knights know themselves they can be corrupted. They're trained. It's more heroic. It's about. Do you know that phrase over like, you can't be brave unless you feel fear, unless you're afraid. If you're never afraid, Garviel Loken says this. If you're never afraid, you're not brave, right? Because a remembrancer says to him, "Wow, you don't feel fear? Wow, you're so brave." And he says, "I'm not brave. I genetically can't feel fear." Right? A guardsman is brave because he feels fear and he does it anyway. Right? If you make the Grey Knights incorruptible, you take away from their value. They're not. Do you know what I mean? They're just not the same. The fact that they can be corrupted and they've never been corrupted, now that is a notch on your bedpost. Do you know what I mean? The fact that Grey Knights can be corrupted, but they never have been in 10,000 years, is amazing. That's an amazing feat, right? Just saying they're incorruptible isn't very interesting. Saying they're corruptible and they haven't fallen once in all these 10,000 years is awesome. That's good storytelling. That's brilliant, right? But just saying they're incorruptible isn't good. So no, in the Exile verse, I would not want the Grey Knights to be incorruptible. No. It wouldn't be my thing at all. Okay. So they have the Emperor's gene seed. We know that. Okay. I think a lot of you have erred on the same place as me, but I'm going to read what Positive Geekery said. He said, "No, I prefer them to be a chimeric mix of gene seed. Makes them weaker, yes, but that makes their latter achievements a lot more impressive, and the Grey Knights more badass if the odds are against them." Okay. Alright. Okay. One of the reasons why I think it's cool that we have the Emperor's gene seed in this is that now that the Emperor's on the Golden Throne, there is a reason why Grey Knights are very precious. Is because when the Emperor's around, give more of his flesh for the progenoid gland, right? It's no problem. You can make as many Grey Knights as you want. Now, it takes maybe 10, 15 years to make 10 Grey Knights, right? They are nearly irreplaceable. Makes them a lot more scarce. If you can just make a Grey Knight through Rogel Dawn's gene seed, it's not special. to me. At least not to me, right? Or Gilliman, God forbid, Gilliman's gene seed. You know, all of these other gene seeds have been really more susceptible to chaos than the Grey Knights are, right? There needs to be a reason for that, an inbuilt reason for that. I think the Emperor's gene seed is a good reason, you know, for the Emperor, for the Grey Knights being that kind of a force. Flaming Neko says, if they can't be corrupted, they need the armor to make the... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why do they need the Aegis if they can't be corrupted? Exactly, yes. And Mr. Awesome React says, the only way I would see them being corrupted is like how the Custodies were mind-controlled in the end and their death. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. 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 Yeah. Hunter had a good idea there. Maybe the gene seed is a mix of all the DNA of the Primarchs. Again, muddying the waters, but a very good idea. Now, speaking of muddying the waters, let's talk about the Sensei. So the Sensei, for those of you who don't know, were the natural sons and daughters of the Emperor, right? Now, we're sticking to this. I'm not going to make female Grey Knights, right? You know, because since we're... Now, here's the thing. If you'd have voted earlier that the Grey Knights were pre-planned, right? That they were part of the plan all along, then I would have campaigned for having female Grey Knights as well. Right? Just going to put it out there, because if we're using the Sensei, they are the sons and daughters of the Emperor, right? So if they become Grey Knights, they should keep, they were sons and daughters of the Emperor. Now, because they are a contingency, that at the last minute, the Emperor says we need to make this thing, they are now male only, because they need to be not mass-produced, but made very quickly. And since the Emperor's going to go on the Golden Throne, we lose all of the other methods of making Grey Knights, so we can only make them with the male genome, because that's the only way we know how to do it, and our technology is very limited. You know, we only know how to make these incredibly advanced things in one way, right? So, again, I have nothing against female Space Marines as a thing, right? But I do think that they don't fit the current universe, right? The crime of female Space Marines isn't so much that they would be going against or going for modern politics, which they would be. It wouldn't be just that, right? It's also the fact that, you know, it would go against nearly all of the law you've already set up. All of the law you've already set up says there can't be female Space Marines. If you go against that, you're cheapening the law, you're cheapening your own background, and why should we care, right? But if there's a reason why you could have female Space Marines, then fine. As long as it makes sense. As long as it makes sense. I don't mean it makes sense to Games Workshop because they want to do it. No. I mean as long as it actually makes fucking sense. Right? You know, a writer can literally sit down and go, yeah, okay, that makes sense. You know? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I've got no issue with them being a thing, but in this instance, I would have. It might not even have happened. You know, but they're not pre-planned anyway, so they can't be female anyway. So, you know, but the Sensei, the sons of the Emperor, the actual sons of the Emperor. Do we have the first 4 or 5 Grey Knights be Sensei? Be literal sons and daughters of the Emperor? And is that how we get the Emperor's gene seed? So these guys are like proto-Primarchs. They are literal... They're only the same... They're only the same size as normal Space Marines, right? Normal humans who become Space Marines. But these are, you know, they have the genetic material to make new Space Marines, right? With these dudes. So that's how we get the Emperor's gene seed. Is that something we'd be happy with? Right? Is that something we'd be happy with? Are we using Sensei for the first 4 to 5 Grey Knights to build on? There we go. That's an interesting idea. Because it means the Emperor's got these children, right, in the Imperial dungeons. Not being tortured or anything, you know, I mean, they're living a comfortable life, but they're being educated and brought up as his children, right, his actual children, but in secret, away from the Primarchs, right? Because if the Primarchs find out, they're going to get really jealous, and things are going to spiral, right? But it keeps them there, just as a, you know, you never know. He may need to transfer his soul to one of them one day, or something weird like that, you know? Right? So maybe he takes those and says, right, I now have a purpose for these sons, for these, you know, these 6-year-old kids. He gives them to Malcador and says, these need to go to Titan. We're building something new. These are going to be Space Marines. These are my own sons, my own flesh and blood, and they're going to be Space Marines. Alright? They're literally going to be Space Marines. Grey Knights. And that is how we get the Emperor's gene seed. Because the Emperor gives his own progenoid glands to these kids, because they've already got his genetic material, so they become super, you know, Marines essentially, right? And that's where we start getting the Grey Knights from. The female Sensei could become their own faction, tied to the Grey Knights like a buffed up version of the Sororitas. Ahaha! Right. Okay. I'm going to read what Ed said, because he put some money behind it. So thank you very much, my friend, for supporting the channel. He says, I know it's a little off topic, maybe a very hot take. The reasons why I don't like female Custodes is that I feel like it takes away from the Sisters of Silence. No, that's not a hot take. That is I'm going to like that. That is completely fine, right? That is not, you know, that is not a controversial thing to say at all. That is completely a normal thing to say. They do. I've got an idea. Why don't we take the female Sensei and we make them the original Sisters of Battle? I never really liked how the Sisters of Battle never really felt that special, because they come about from very normal circumstances. Do you know what I mean? They just come about like, you know, well, you know, like, you know, let's go kill Gorge Van Dyer, you know, like, or Gog Van Dyer, whatever his name is, right? It's not a big enough thing for the Sisters, you know? It's not a big enough thing for the Sisters of Battle. So how about we take the male Sensei in this, and they are the first 4 to 5 Grey Knights, but why don't we take the female Sensei, and we make them the first 4 to 5 Sisters of Battle? Alright, so we're keeping the Sensei for the Grey Knights. Cool. I wouldn't do Van Dyer, yeah. Maybe we'll do Van Dyer eventually. Or the female Sensei sent to become the first Sisters of Battle, daughters of the Emperor. So instead of being brides of the Emperor, we make them the daughters of the Emperor, right? Daughters of the Emperor. And that doesn't mean all Sisters of Battle are going to be this, you know, they don't have gene seed, right? We might even get rid of Van Dyer. I might keep him around. But the first few could be the Emperor's own flesh and blood, which is why they're so obsessed with following him, you know? I think the Sisters of Silence are already there, Ed. I think that they were already there. Positive Geekery says, but Sisters of Battle aren't genetically altered, but the female Sensei would be. Where would the female gene seed go? There isn't any female gene seed. That would be it, right? So they would die off in the end, but they would actually teach, their own. They would act like Sensei. They would teach, a whole slew of girls how to be Sisters of Battle. You know what I mean? That kind of a thing. Diego says they don't have gene seed, but they have the human equivalent of orc magic. Yeah, it could be that. Tiamat says, but what would do with the Sisters of Silence? Did the Emperor know about blanks and their effects? Same if he knew the full law of chaos, then just hid it. Yeah. Good point. Like the OG law said, the Sisters of Silence came along with the Custodes. Yeah. I'm wondering whether we'll keep it that way. Well. Mr. Awesome says, I would have to disagree with this. I think the point of the Sororitas is that they have more humbler beginnings. I liked how the matriarchs have very realistic human deaths that come out of nowhere. Well, here's the thing, Mr. Awesome. Here's the thing. If we use the Sensei to be the first Sisters of Battle, that doesn't mean that all the Sisters of Battle after that are going to be these superhuman warriors. It means the first few of their number were superhuman, were amazing. They were saints, right? Dude, we've got Saint Celestine. What do you mean? How is that humble? She comes back from the dead. You can't kill her. So why don't we say that the Sisters of Battle stay as they are, right? They're just founded a lot earlier. They're founded by the female Sensei, and the female Sensei eventually die off, because of course they do, right? Just as the male Sensei die off, because they're fighting the Emperor's enemies constantly, right? So these really cool proto Grey Knights and proto Sisters of Battle eventually fall, and their progeny, in terms of the Grey Knights, they're literal progeny, but in terms of the Sisters of Battle, their students, right, take on their mantle. And take on their... And maybe... You know why the Sisters of Battle have silver hair? Maybe the Sensei have silver hair. Maybe the Sensei have silver hair. And so the Sisters of Battle dye their hair as a... as a nod to the Sensei. As a nod to the original women who started the whole thing. Right, we'll end that poll there. I'm going to leave that up to you. That's a close enough poll where if you don't want the Sensei to be also the Sisters of Battle, you can discard that in your own headcanon, okay? In the Exile verse they are, but you can feel free to discard that if you don't like it. It's fine. I just thought it was a cool idea. That it would be pretty cool. Positive Geekery says, but the Sisters worship the Emperor as a god. Yeah, but again, there's been 10,000 years, man. Things don't stay the same. So yes, while certain forces may have started out saying, no, he's just a man, blah, 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 over time, dogma takes place, right? And all of a sudden, the Sisters of Silence start to worship the Emperor as a god. It's natural. Happens. Alright. Okay. So we've got this, the 4 or 5 male Sensei are the first Grey Knights, and they are given the Emperor's gene seed. So they become Space Marines. So not only are they directly related to the Emperor as their father, so they are very powerful psykers, but they are also, now Space Marines with the Emperor's gene seed. So these are extremely incorruptible, quote unquote, extremely powerful Space Marines. Now, do we keep the first Supreme Grandmaster? Do we keep Raviol Arvida? Now, Raviol Arvida is the first Supreme Grand Master of the Grey Knights. And if you don't know who that is, it is a warrior, a librarian of the... I think it's the Thousand Sons, who is stabbed with a shard of Magnus. So he basically becomes this new being. He becomes a melding of Magnus's soul and his own soul, right? And he becomes a being known as Janus. And he becomes the first Supreme Grand Master of the Grey Knights. My thing is here, we change him from being... we'll get to that in a minute, the Knight Errant. Either we change him from being a Thousand Son to being a Sensei, who then gets stabbed with, who then basically gets the Magnus soul treatment, or we keep him as a Thousand Son. Up to you guys. It's up to you guys. I'm leaning towards making him a Sensei, but I also think the Thousand Sons would be pretty cool if they could have something. So, maybe we keep him a Thousand Son. We just keep him as is. Maybe we just keep him as he is. It'd be quite cool to have the Sensei there, and they're led by a veteran of war in Raviel Arvida, right? It makes more sense, I think. So, like, the Sensei are kind of the spiritual guide of the Grey Knights. They're the trainers. They are the truly incorruptible ones. You know what I mean? Whereas Raviel Arvida is a space marine, but he's got centuries of combat practice behind him. You know, and he has Magnus's soul burning within him. Let's do that then. How about this? If we're keeping Raviel Arvida, guys, how about this? How about Raviel Arvida leads loyalist Thousand Sons to Terra, right? And them teleporting onto the world is what saves the Sensei children from certain death. So the Chaos Forces, the Chaos Gods have sent demons to kill the children because they know they're going to form the Grey Knights. Where it's the Thousand Sons under Raviel Arvida who turn up like black shields. These psychic black shields turn up and they save the children, right? They save the Sensei, all of them. And they fight their way to Malkador and the Emperor. Just as the Emperor's saying, go and fetch my children, oh my god, they're going to die, Raviel Arvida turns up and says, no, they're safe, I've got them here, right? They're safe, it's fine. And Raviel Arvida and these 100 or so Thousand Sons are blessed by the Emperor, and they become the caretakers of these children. They become the father figures of these children, and they take them to Titan, right? And that's where we start to build the Grey Knights. How does that sound? That sound good? Because it really does give the Thousand Sons a heroic moment, right? Yeah? Tiamat says, it would work, but would it be erased due to Thousand Sons' gene seed being corrupted, aka the Curse of Dust? I'm not sure, because I think the whole point of the Curse of Dust, as in the whole point of the flesh change, was that you couldn't handle your psychic powers, and if you weren't an extremely powerful sorcerer, then you couldn't handle it, and you would start the flesh change, being warped into a chaos spawn. So I'm thinking, no, these are incredibly powerful dudes. You know what I mean? These are incredibly powerful dudes who've just turned up. Do you know what I mean? And even in that, they're getting blessed by the Emperor. So wait, why don't we go with your idea, Tiamat, right? Why don't we go with your idea? Maybe these dudes they know they're already dead. They know they're about to be flesh changed. They know that their lives are forfeit. But they come to Terra to protect the people of Terra, to die fighting, right? They do this, and the Emperor channels his psychic might and burns the flesh change from them, and just gets rid of it. Just takes a load of his power and gets rid of it. And even he says, even he can't get them all, by the way. So, like, of the 300 or so that are there, only about 200 survive, because even the Emperor's power can't burn it from all of them. And the other 100 just die. They just turn into Chaos Spawn and a gun down, right? So that also shows why the Emperor didn't just cure the entire Thousand Sons Legion. Because he can't. Right? He can't. Physically, he can't. How about that? So, 1,000 Sons. Oh, wait. 200,000 Sons. Save the Sensei on Terra, and are made first Grey Knights by Emperor. And in this, if we want them to have the flesh change, then the Emperor burns it out of them. He just burns it out. He goes, no, you saved my children. I remove that curse from you. And it takes all of his might, and he still has to recover. Like, the Emperor's like burning away a Tzeentchian plague here. You know what I mean? So it takes a lot of his power. And he's like, well, I've got to conserve the rest of my power now, because I'm going to go fight Horus. But like, that's all I can do for you. You will now go to Titan. You will now go to Titan and be the first Grey Knights. You will train my children. You are their protectors. You will train my children, and they will be the first Grey Knights. Mr. Awesome says, I would have the Sensei get possessed by greater demons, and he uses his power to exorcise the demons from them. This is what inspires the Exorcist chapter. That's a good idea. Good idea. Maybe he did that a while ago, you know what I mean, when they were kids. Maybe. Tiamat says, but is that law issue with anything being mixed with Death Guard or Thousand Sons? They still have curses. I don't know what you mean. And I think if the Emperor like channels his power into curing you of a curse, this is a guy who, as a spirit, has burned down the Garden of Nurgle. So, I think if the Emperor, when he's living and at the height of his power, says, you no longer have a curse, you no longer have a fucking curse, and that's it, you know what I mean? I've limited the Emperor's power here to only be able to do it to 100 or so of the grain of the Thousand Sons, because I don't want people to say, well, why didn't he just do that to the whole Thousand Sons Legion then? Because he can't, right? Even the Emperor's power has limits, right? This is a Tzeentchian curse that he's undoing here. So, and it doesn't even work for all of them. Out of the 300 or so who are there, only 200 make it through, you know? But those 200 go on to, 2 to 300 go on to be the first Grey Knights. By the way, it works in a very similar way to what he did to the Sensei, right? If the Sensei were possessed by greater demons and then the Emperor exorcised them to make them, to make them anathema to demons, exactly the same thing happens here. The Emperor scourging the Thousand Sons, the 100 or so Thousand Sons who are there, makes them completely anathema to demons. And that's how we start with the rituals of detestation and all of those other things, the Aegis and all these other things. They're imitating what the Emperor did to them, to their new aspirants, right? That's what they're doing. Now, see, Hunter, I wanna drill into that, right? So you say it makes more sense for the Custodes than to be Sensei. They are the Emperor's greatest warriors and his true sons. I don't agree. And here's why. I think the Custodes are really cool, right? Because they aren't the Emperor's sons. The Emperor sculpted them from nothing, right? So when you look at the Emperor's sons, he created the Primarchs to lead legions, right? So they are his sons, but not really. Do you know what I mean? They're more tools. The Sensei are literally his children. They're children that he's had by hook or by crook you know, with different women, you know, who are naturally born babies. But the Custodes, he moulded himself, and he spent time on them. That's why they're special, right? If you make the Custodes Sensei, you kind of devalue what they are. We need more mystery with the Custodes, not less. We don't want to explain who the Custodes are. We don't even want to explain how the Custodes come about, right? The Grey Knights are far more mundane than the Custodes. If you know what I mean. That's my opinion, anyway. Tiamat says, but it actually works because if you look at the law that hinted Magnus was offered redemption to be the Grey Knights. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it does work. It does work. If we could even have that now, where Magnus is offered the Grey Knights and says no, you know, squint size or leftover Thunder Warriors. All right. So, just a quick recap of who the Grey Knights are. So, the Grey Knights are a last-minute contingency plan by the Emperor, right? The Emperor has his children in the dungeons of Terror, right? They're not being mistreated. They're in like apartments and things, you know, not like, you know, they're in royal apartments. They're being looked after by tutors and scholars and things, right? But being kept away from the public eye. He senses near the end of the Horus Heresy that there are demons in his personal chambers, like coming into his literal. The part of the dungeon where the children are, and they're going for the children. So he sends, you know, he says, we need to get them out of there right now. At that moment, the 1,000 Sons, the loyalist 1,000 Sons, about 300 of them, 400 maybe, finally teleport onto Terra, and they teleport directly into the Imperial dungeon, right? And they're in there fighting demons, getting rid of them, burning them away. Because they're determined, they're all suffering from the flesh change, they're determined to die fighting on Terra, you know, for the Emperor. They find these children, and they get them out of there, right? And they realise who these kids are. They're told by their tutors and things who are still alive who they are. And so they fight their way to the Emperor's side and to Malcador's side. And they say, right, we got these kids here, you take them, right? You know, Malcador, whoever, you take them, we're here to die for you. Like, we're here to die for the Emperor. And the Emperor sees this, and, you know, he's already got his Grey Knight contingency plan in his head. He's told Malcador, now that's what's going to happen. So he says, you will be the first Grey Knight. My children will be, my sons will be, these Sensei sons will be, but you will be as well. So he basically, he tells them to prepare themselves, and he rids them of the flesh change. Now, a good couple of hundred of these tragic warriors are just burned away into nothing because they can't resist the psychic might that's burning the flesh change away from their bodies. But for the 100 or 200 who are left, they are basically enamored with the Emperor's power forever. There are these extremely powerful psychic warriors who are absolutely anathema to demons because they've had this demonic taint driven from their bodies. Just as the Sensei were. So the Sensei back in the day were experimented on, because the Emperor isn't a doting father, right? They had demons put inside of them, they had all sorts of other things, and then banished from them, and they are also anathema to demons. So he tells these warriors, you will be scour the paint from your armour, you will wear grey from now on. You are the Grey Knights. You're my final gift to humanity. You're going to go to Titan with Malcador. He's going to seal you away, and you are going to teach my children to be warriors like you. And then, when it's time for you to come back to the galaxy, you'll fight demons, you'll fight the worst of the worst. But you'll do so with my children at your head. Right? And that's the start of the Grey Knights. And that's how we start the Grey Knights off. Alright. Okay. Was there ever a definitive split between the Grey Knights and Custodes? I feel like those origin lines are a bit blurred. I don't know, because we don't explain the Custodes, right? The Custodes are tailor-made by the Emperor back in the day, right? Like absolutely tailor-made. That's what I would say. They're tailor-made, rather than the Grey Knights who are sent away to become something more. Anyway, that is how we start the Grey Knights. Now, the Grey Knights obviously going to come back. Obviously, right? And they come back at the end of the second founding, because they're 10,000 years old. Thing is, though, how intertwined with the Order Malleus are they? How intertwined with the Order Malleus are the Grey Knights? What do we reckon? What do we reckon? What do we reckon? The J-Vlog says, does grey mean a vague blur between black and white, good and evil? Yeah, could do. Hunter says, very little. Okay. Monton says, I imagine there'd be a bit more tension between the two groups since the Grey Knights will now have been founded by the actual biological children of the Emperor. Now, that is a known fact to the Grey Knights, but they are very secretive. So, who else would know that? How about this? Is it common knowledge that the Sensei founded the Grey Knights? Now, when I say common knowledge, I mean, among the people who know who the Grey Knights are, do they all know that Sensei started the Grey Knights? Is it common knowledge? I'm leaning towards no. We can see. They might be less inclined to follow in inquisitorial decrees. Now, Wanton, that's where I'm going with this as well. That's where I'm going with this. I'm thinking if the Grey Knights know we were founded by the Sons of the Emperor, the actual Sons of the Emperor, they will be very inclined to tell the Inquisition to go shove it up their ass whenever they... they will work with the Ordo Malleus, of course, they're demon hunters. But they also kind of look at the Inquisitors as kind of a fucking nuisance. Which is what they should do now, by the way. They should look at them as a fucking nuisance, even now. Because what does a mortal Inquisitor have to say to a Grey Knight who's fought demons for centuries? I don't know. Mr. Awesome says, I would say very high-ranking Inquisitors, and it would be heresy for anybody else to know about it. It's like a Christian saying Jesus had multiple children. Yeah. Very good point. Very good point. Very good point. Okay, that's enough on that. Okay. So with that being said, okay, I think we're settling on the Grey Knights being a semi-independent force, right? Yeah? Now, how secretive are the Grey Knights? Let me just give him 1 sec. Extremely. Slightly Alright. How secretive are our version of the Grey Knights? Are they extremely secretive and that they're totally hidden? Right? Are they very secretive, as in they're akin to the Dark Angels in keeping their secrets? Or are they slightly secretive, as in they tend to keep their secrets to themselves, but they are very public facing, right? Well, akin to the Dark Angel just means you've got a grasp on how secretive they are. Extremely means nobody knows about them, and if you do, we'll kill you, right? I think that's a bit too much, and I've always thought it's a bit too much. In the actual 40k lore, I think, and nobody knowing about the Grey Knights at all seems a bit much. When they're supposed to be going around the galaxy saving people and all that sort of good stuff. Myself, I'd say a little bit. They're a little bit more secretive than the Dark Angels. Is the sweet spot for me. So people know they exist. They just try to pass themselves off as a normal Space Marine chapter, when obviously they're not, right? But they try to pass themselves off as a normal Space Marine chapter. Yeah. Okay, yeah. The Grey Knights will be extremely secretive because mostly they are deployed during galactic ending level threats from Chaos. Okay. The idea Chaos knows most of the Imperium's darkest secrets and uses it to mess with loyalists. Yes. Diego says, screams very after nuking a planet from orbit because one citizen saw them. Yeah, I've always hated that part of their lore, man. I'm not going to lie. So what? If they show up to help another chapter, they kill the survivors? This is what I mean, though, right? So that would be very, wouldn't it? So if we want them to show up to help a Space Marine chapter, but then not mind wipe anybody, that would just make them very secretive, not extremely, right? You know? Okay. So they're staying as extremely secretive. And that's fine. That's fine. They're extremely secretive. That basically means if you see them, they either mind wipe you or they kill you. Right? One of the two. Because they show up at the direst of times. Fair enough. Did we discuss the Sisters' bloodbath earlier? Okay. No, we didn't. But I don't think we're even going to discuss it now because we've changed the Sisters to be Sensei as well. So I doubt the Grey Knights would even bother doing anything like that. And the Grey Knights wouldn't need to, right? Let's be honest. These Grey Knights that we've built here wouldn't need to. Right? Now, we know something. We know something of the Grey Knights already. Do you guys remember the Emperor video that we did? Yeah? Do you guys remember that in our Emperor video, the Terminus decree that brings back the Emperor means the genetic, progeny of the Emperor has to sit on the Golden Throne? Remember? So in our version, Caldor Drago has a purpose. He goes back to Terra and he sits on the Golden Throne and allows the Emperor to come back in a very diminished form, right? So the Emperor's soul is still, channeling through Drago, his proxy, who's sitting on the Golden Throne, but it means that the Emperor has a body, right? The Emperor is allowed to walk around. He's allowed to be talking to people and to do things. He's now only really Primarch level in power, but in the Exileverse, our version of 8th edition doesn't just have Guilliman coming back, it has the Emperor coming back as well, right? In a much diminished form, he's not a walking god anymore, but he is a very powerful Primarch level threat, is the Emperor, when he comes back. So I think this all blends in nicely, because if the gene seed that's come from the Sensei is now a part of the Grey Knights, then that means that Caldor Drago has the Emperor's gene seed. He's, partly Sensei, right? It's in there. So there's a reason why the Grey Knights are used as the last contingency to get the Emperor off the fucking Golden Throne, right? I think this all... I don't know how this keeps happening with our streams, but we keep making very elegant stories, and it doesn't seem like you guys are trying. You're not even trying to do that, right? But it comes about. Like these really nice... the Ouroboros always... The snake always eats its tail in our stories, which I really like. Things link into things, link into things, link into things, all the time. So, our very first episode on the Emperor, we voted on whether the Emperor would come back or not, and we voted that he did. Right? We voted that he did come back. And we voted that Caldor Drago would take the Emperor's place in the Golden Throne, right? But now there's a solid reason why that makes sense. Because Caldor Drago's literally got the Emperor's genetic material coursing through his veins. Right? Especially if the first Grey Knights were Sensei. That's great. That's great. It's really elegant. I'm really impressed, you guys. I don't know whether you did that on purpose, but I'm really impressed. Like that is such an elegant way to do it. To feed it all the way back to our first episode on the Emperor. Incredible. Minding Bat says, don't know why, but I want Guilliman to end up at war with the Imperium. Off topic, I know. Well, he does in the Exileverse. Go and watch the Emperor's episode. He does. Malia says, the one stream I've been waiting for and I'm late. Oh, dear. Diego says, shush, shush. Games Workshop might hear that and I'll hurt their lore writers' feelings. Yeah, well, there you go. It's not difficult to write really cool lore, right? You know what I mean? But then again, people would still complain about this lore as well. They would. It's what more gamers do. Everyone has different opinions. Alright. I would love to see the reactions of the traitor Primarchs to the Sensei. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. If they ever come across them, because the Sensei do die off in our setting, because of course they do, right? It'd be silly if they didn't. You know? They're not immortal. Well, they are kind of immortal. Yeah, but they're not impervious. You know? They're not impervious. Well, with that, I reckon we call another subject done. Right? Grey Knights. Job done. And next week's going to be Sons of Horus. Next week. Oh my god, that's going to be a big one. That's what she said. Sons of Horus next week. That's going to be massive. That might be a 2 to 3 hour stream. I'm not going to lie. I've already got a page of notes for that, but I've got more to get through. Is there going to be a big load together? Yeah, there is. So once we get to the end of the Alpha Legion, I'm going to be taking volunteers to go through each of the streams, each of the 20 streams, 21, 22 streams, whatever it is, and make bullet points of every stream, right? I'll be picking a team to do that, to write that, to get it all down, and then those people will be getting £50 worth of free models sent to them. That's what I'm going to do. So when we get to the Alpha Legion video, I'll put the call out and say, I'm looking for volunteers to do this, and you'll get some models for your trouble. And I will give each of you 5 streams to look at, essentially. So I'll be looking for 4 people, 5 streams each. And what you will do, you will watch the stream again, and you will bullet point the things that happened in that stream, essentially. So what we did, so say for Lehman Russ, it'll be, why did Lehman Russ go to Fenris? What happened with him and Magnus? You know, blah, 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 blah. Do all that, right? It doesn't need to be very long, 5 or 6 bullet points, and then move on to the next video, right? And for that, you will get £50 worth of free models. Or give it there or thereabouts. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Yeah. Won't be till after the Alpha Legion video, though. We've got a while to go yet. We've got Sons of Horus next week. And then... what do we have after that? We got Sons of Horus... and... Word Bearers. Sons of Horus, Word Bearers, Salamanders, Raven Guard, and Alpha Legion. I think, in that order. I think, off the top of my head. Yeah. Those are the last 4 or 5. Sons of Horus, Word Bearers, Salamanders, Raven Guard, Alpha Legion. 5 more. 5 more legions. And then we're done. And then I will do a big recap video that I will record live here with you guys, and we'll upload that the following Sunday as a big thing, right? And that'll be that. The Patreons right now are voting on what we will be looking at after the Legions are finished for the Exileverse. I'm going to want to have a little look, see how that is doing. It is... so I said, on the Exileverse, after finishing the Legions for the Exileverse, our Sunday live streams, what are we looking at next? And our choices were the Xenos, which we'll do another vote on to see who comes first if we do it. Successor chapters, give us gaming streams to have a little break, or Imperial Guard regiments. And what won was Imperial Guard regiments by 64%, and Xenos was 27%, and gaming was 9%. So yeah, 64% we're doing. So we will be doing Imperial Guard regiments after we've done the legions. So there you go. So it's farewell to the Grey Knights for now. That is them rebuilt and in the archive. Awesome. Brilliant stuff. So there we go. That is what we're doing. Will we doing anything other factions during the 30k time period? I don't think so, mining back, because I want to get to other things like Imperial Guard regiments and stuff. Maybe eventually. We will. Maybe Chaos Gods can be added in the next poll. They could be, but at the end of the day, the Chaos Gods are the Chaos Gods. I don't really want to touch them that much. I think the Chaos Gods will be getting a big video next week, Wanton. Do you know what I mean? We're covering Horus, so, you know what I mean? I think what we're going to do Imperial Guard, then Xenos. So that'll be Tau, Eldar, you know, things like that. And what we'll do, because there's so many Imperial Guard, we'll probably do 3 or 4 Imperial Guard regiments. And as soon as we get to like 5 Imperial Guard regiments that we've covered, then we'll do some Xenos. Right, then we'll go back to the Guard. Then we'll do some more Xenos. You know, that kind of a thing. We'll go back and forth. Yeah. Will we be keeping the Imperial Army getting split into the Navy, National Militarum, etc.? I don't know. I don't know. I will know near the time, but I don't know right now. We'll see. Rewriting the Tau, that's going to be a challenge, indeed. I agree, Wanton. I agree with that. Board says if North loses an Exile Vest, he has to play the Dragon Age the Veil Guard live. I'd do that. I would do that if it was a charity stream. I wouldn't need to lose. I'd do if it was for charity. I would do it. Do you know what? I might actually do that for charity. I'd hate every fucking second of it, but I might do it for charity. I won't be playing an Exile Fest though. I will be there. I'll be walking the boards. I'll be there talking to everybody. Right? I think what I'm going to do for Exile Fest is I'm going to have... if we have odd numbers at the event, it'll mean that obviously if we've got 25 people, or maybe we've got 21 people, that means we'll have 10 games going on one poor sod left over not doing anything. So if we have an odd number of people, I will step in and be the other number to play the other person who was left out, and then I'll play then. If that's not the case and we've got even numbers, then I will walk around, I'll talk to everybody, I'll have some fun, I'll look at models, I'll do little talks and interviews. If you want to do an interview with me for your own channel, or for a project you got coming up, or you want to talk to me about things, that's the time to do it, right? You know, it's going to be really, really fun anyway. We're gonna have such fun. Mining Bat says, it would be cool to make up your own guard regiments based on the Space Marine chapters lore we made. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Valdor deserves a video. He does. The Custodies will get a video. I'm thinking once we've done the Legions, the first video we do as a transition to the Imperial Guard will be Adeptus Custodes. Yeah. Alrighty. Right, for now, I am done for now. I am tired, so I'm going to go and have something to eat. But I love you all long time. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. I'll see you next Sunday. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, actually. I will see you tomorrow for... Let me see here. What do we have going on tomorrow? We have... this tomorrow. Arrogant 40k friend tanks long-term relationship. Ooh. It's a doozy tomorrow. It's a doozy. And I will speak to you for another live stream next Sunday. So I'll speak to you then. Have a lovely rest of your day. I'll speak to you soon. Have a good one. Bye now.